Bus east.
Alright. I feel like I'm in good company tonight, but I hear heckling is very humbling for the soul, and that might be a good thing, so we'll see.
More!
Thank you, sir. Alright. This is a little something called Diego's Daisy, and it is a 5th grade love story. Diego Gomez was 12 years old, and still only the 2nd oldest kid in my 5th grade class. Diego Gomez was 5'6" and weighed over 160 pounds, but was still only the 2nd biggest kid in my class. He was beaten on both counts by his good amigo, Manny Gomez, no relation, who was 13 years old, 5'8", and was pushing 175 pounds. Either way, it was no contest that Diego Gomez was still a big burly motherfucker of a 5th grader. And partnered with his good amigo, Manny, these two Cro-Mags were a pair of Mexican bruisers, the likes of which St. Bosco's Catholic Elementary had never seen. Even though they weren't related, everyone, including their own damn selves, called these guys the Gomez brothers. And if you didn't want a fat lip or a busted eye from either of the Gomez brothers, you made sure that your little high-top sneakers carried your sorry hairless ass out of their path whenever you saw these bulls stampeding through the halls. And you didn't speak to them unless they spoke to you first. One time I thought I was too cool for my own shit and tried to high-five Manny Gomez last September when it was still nice outside, back when he homered a curveball outside of the school parking lot. And the bastard just left my shit hanging up in the clear blue sky. As he eyed me with these big black mako shark eyes of his and said, "Who the fuck do you think you're high-fiving, you faggot ass?" And that name stuck with me through the whole fall semester. Whenever those Gomez boys would see me coming down the hall, they'd start right in on me. "Ay, ay, ay, here comes that little faggot ass, James Mallory. What's happening, faggot ass Jimmy?" By the time the faggot ass Jimmy nickname had made its way down to the mouths of the 2nd graders, I was begging my parents to let me transfer. So yeah, I pretty much prayed for death upon those Gomez brothers. But let me get back to Diego Gomez, as this story is about him anyways, and the time he got suspended from school for a whole week during the spring semester. Now that wasn't the first time he got suspended, nor was it the last. As long as his parents were able to keep making school tuition payments and donate a few bucks at Sunday Mass every week, it was no skin off of Father Sal's crooked-ass nose to give Diego a paddling, send him home for a few days for whatever it was he had done, and then welcome him back into the open arms of God's sweet forgiveness. Father Sal was the head of the parish and the driving spiritual force of the school. But you only ever really saw Father Sal wandering the halls of St. Bosco's if it was time to give an ass paddling to some poor sap, or if he needed to welcome the students' parents to yet another blessed fundraiser. But fuck Father Sal. The story's still about Diego Gomez and the time he got suspended from school in the name of love. It's true, you know. Diego Gomez was only the 2nd oldest and the 2nd biggest in class, but he was the first one of us to ever dedicate his heart to another. It was true blue, the schoolgirls used to whisper in their huddles of plaid-patterned skirts on the playground. Diego Gomez was caught proposing to his sweet flower, Daisy Morales, in the back of the rectory when the whole school was at the Stations of the Cross on Friday. Of course, I knew that little piece of gossip was nothing more than sappy, lovey-dovey bullshit. Sure, Diego could have passed for at least 15, and if he looked hard enough, he totally had like 2 little whiskers on his chin and a shadow coming in over his upper lip. He was badass. But Daisy Morales was still about a month shy of 11. And the justice of the peace... And no justice of the peace was going to let a ring get put on that little finger. At least not less than for $100 or so. But we knew for sure some shit had gone down that Friday, because when we got back to class after the stations were done, Diego and Daisy were nowhere to be found. It wasn't until almost 2 o'clock that we saw Diego again, when Father Sal walked him into class, had him bend over to grab his ankles, and proceeded to whoop Diego's quarter-red ass with his thick wooden paddle so hard you could hear the echoes of the slaps up and down Grand Avenue for blocks. We knew Diego had to have been up to some serious shit, because only the worst offenses deserve that kind of public humiliation. I gotta give credit to Diego, though. Normally, most of us pansies would break down by the 2nd or 3rd paddle, but Diego's eyes didn't even water until the 5th blow, and I swear to God, I saw him mouth the name of his true love. Easy. I asked my boy Bobby Cahill if he saw it too, but Bobby was looking out the classroom window the whole time, where he saw Daisy's mom yanking her daughter by the arm away from school, crying and saying a Hail Mary the whole ways away. The next week, Diego wasn't to be seen, sitting at home on account of his suspension. Daisy was back, on the other hand, but she had been put into the other 5th grade class, which even though it was next door to ours, she might as well have been deported. During recess, Daisy would mostly keep to herself in the back of the lot, while the rest of us kids made up stories as to the truth behind her little scandal. Most of the girls still held on to their fantasies of a marriage proposal, but us guys, we had far nastier ideas. Some of the white boys in class were pretty sure that Diego and Daisy had been caught doing it, even though none of them knew what it exactly was. The kids who came to school from the west side, they were a bit more descriptive of their theories. Chucky Francisco, this Colombian kid who had a big ass shaped like 2 coconuts slapping against each other, he was convinced that Diego had given Daisy, quote-unquote, the high-hearted one and spread that shit all over the back wall of the rectory. But Chucky was a pervert. He always said filthy shit. My buddy Charlie Henderson, who was the only black kid in class, he said he had a sinking suspicion that Diego was up to some ass play. When I asked him what ass play was, he said that his big brother told him it was when a girl let you cop a feel on her butt. Nice. Now Manny Gomez had to speak up for his boy. He told us all that he had visited Diego over the weekend and got to smell his fingers. And supposedly they smelled just as sweet as Dr. Pepper and strawberries. Now, I don't know what fingers had to do with anything, but I knew that story was a lie because one of the girls in class had heard from Diego's sister in the 6th grade that their old man kept him locked up in the bedroom for almost 3 days straight, with no visitors allowed except for his mom to bring him his meals, and for the old man for when he thought Diego's ass could handle another belt whooping. Anyhow, Daisy Morales wasn't even allowed to walk home from school anymore after whatever the hell had gone down. Her parents would have their station wagon pulled up right in front of St. Bosco's every day at 2:30, and she had to rush straight out of school into the back of the car, not even allowed to say goodbye to her friends. It wasn't like she had many friends left anyhow, on account of everybody thinking she was nothing but a hussy. On that first day that Diego was finally allowed back to class, the teachers wouldn't even allow those 2 little lovebirds to cross paths. They couldn't speak a word to each other or so much as make eye contact. Us kids all knew it was forbidden love, and we thought that shit was hot. For that whole first day, or at least until school let out, the story of Diego and Daisy was the stuff of legend. But then the 2:30 bell rang, and we all rushed outside to see what would happen when Daisy's parents came to pick her up. Daisy's teacher had given her a 10-second head start out the door. And Diego, that man, he was forced to barrel through the rush of kids to catch up on her. And man, those 2 caused a scene. As Daisy's mom was clutching her daughter by the collar, trying to push her into the backseat of the station wagon, Daisy kept pulling away, slapping at her mom's mom's clutches. The whole time she's screaming, "We were just holding hands, that's all. I love him, I love you, Diego." And Father Sal, he's standing at the front door and he's holding Diego back with one outstretched arms. And Diego, he's hollering, "Let me go, Father. All we did was hold hands. Can't you see I love her? We was just holding hands." "Hand-holding is the first step on the path to sin, boy," Father Sal replied, holding back the once mighty Diego. And the rest of us fellas, we just stood off to the side, shaking our heads. Hand-holding? All that for holding hands? What a load of sissy bullshit. It made us sick to watch Diego sink down onto St. Bosco steps as Daisy and her mother sped away from the curb. This was the bruiser who had tormented all our school days, bringing constant pain and misery to our young lives. Now look how the mighty had fallen, just like a little bitch. It was Manny Gomez who summed it up best to his good amigo. "You fucking faggot-ass man. Faggot-ass Diego." Thanks.